Hey everybody, I'm just trying to get my comments here. There we go. They're up and running. All right. Welcome to the live show. Glad you're with us here on Sunday. It was Canadian Thanksgiving last. Whoops. It was Canadian Thanksgiving last Sunday, so we had to miss that, but ate lots of turkey, pie. It was all good. So that was definitely worthwhile. Interestingly, let's go. I've got some audio here. Thanksgiving in Canada predates the U.S. by about 30 years. Go figure, right? All right, a couple of things. CanadaDrives.ca if you're looking for a used vehicle throughout all of the province of Ontario, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. You can go online, you can look at the cars, you can order the cars, you can get approved for a credit, and then they deliver it to you in a covered truck often the very next day. So that's CanadaDrives.ca. CarCostCanada.com is if you're looking to buy a new vehicle, and that will basically get you what the dealer paid for the vehicle. I got a few things going on here. Hang on a second. All right, there we go. Lots of moving pieces here. By the way, didn't get many pictures from a couple of weeks ago, so we've only got two. And if you want to get yours in, it's Zack@motormouth.ca, ZACK@motormouth.ca, or ZACK@motormouth.ca if you're south of the border. Okay, so the first picture we have today, this is from Stephen, who traded in his 2015 Outback and got a 2022 Outback. Well done. And this is a bit of a unicorn. This is from Debbie. Picked up a Hyundai Tucson Ultimate. And those are hard to find. There's so few cars available. So congratulations to both of you on the new ride. All right. What else is coming up this week? We have a Kia Soul video that's going to be coming out later in the week, and also the Mini Countryman PHEV. We'll have that as well. All right, if you guys just have to get a question answered, you can always do a super chat. It helps support the channel, but it also makes sure I get notified and highlighted. Okay, let's get into the questions. Sanjeeb is like saying, "Hey Zach, when are you driving the Toyota Crown and the 2023 CRV? What is your pick between 4-cylinder 3 Series and the new C-Class?" Okay, so we're still waiting. I was communicating with the PR department at Toyota Canada about the Crown. There was a few people got a chance to drive it in Ontario this past week and said, "Hey, we're more than willing to come and drive it." So we've talked to them about getting it later in November, and we'll have to wait and see if that pans out. And the CRV, we're still waiting. I keep emailing the PR person here, and I don't think she's very happy. I keep emailing the same, any updates on the CRV? So I don't know what's going on there. But they said either the end of this month or the beginning of next month. So we wait. That's all we can do. And my pick between the 3 Series and the C-Class. C-Class, for my taste, it could be right up your alley, is a little bit too soft for me. They've gone the traditional luxury route, and I think Mercedes-Benz is quite clever with that. The market for a pure luxury car, very smooth, very soft suspension, is really quite big. You would think everybody wants sporty. Not the case. It's a much bigger market to go with the traditional luxury. So if you're traditional luxury, then the C-Class. If you want more of a sporting drive, it would be the 3 Series. Here's Webb. What's your favorite generation of S-Class sedan in terms of overall ride and handling? I like the one that was just replaced, the previous model. Not a big fan of the single screen, touch screen in the center of the latest S-Class. I think the previous generation had the MBUX screens that were integrated better into the dashboard. In terms of the way they drive, they're all very back to that Mercedes-Benz traditional luxury feel. They're all very, very soft. I mean, you've got air suspension. They're calibrated and tuned to be insulated from the road, and that's exactly what you get. But when it comes down to the actual car and living with it, I think I prefer the previous generation because of the infotainment screen. KP, congrats on the 250,000 subs. Thanks to you and everybody that's subscribed and watches our videos every week. So it's really kind of fun. So we hit 250,000 subscribers. The whole subscriber thing that you see on YouTube is a bit misleading because, you know, people, when you meet them and they're kind of interested a little bit in what you do, they say, oh, how many subs do you have? And we know, and most car reviews, the people that watch them are not subscribed to the channel. I would say it's 75% do not subscribe. And if you think about it this way, it makes perfect sense. Say I'm looking for a new camera, and I want to find out about this latest Lumix Panasonic camera. I watch a video of Bob's cameras and Larry's cameras or Sally's cameras or whatever. I watch all these videos and I get all the information I need on the next camera. And then once I bought the camera, I'm not going to go back and watch more of their content. And that's the case for people who are buying cars. A lot of people that watch our videos are in the market to buy a car. So once they've got the information, they're not going to come back and keep watching. We'd love if they came back. You know, some people certainly watch a lot of our videos or all of our videos, but for a lot of people, it's just information they're using in terms to buy a vehicle. So 250,000 subs is great. The vast majority of people who watch our videos are not subscribed. I wish it wasn't the case, but we'll take it. And we're very happy that it's moving up every single month. Okay, so what was the rest of the question? I got sidetracked there. Do you think automakers will build compact sport hybrids, GTI, Golf R, etc.? Also, another rip-off report, a new used ID4 for 84 grand in Richmond, VW. Like, really? Well, listen, if the car is available for them to market as a used vehicle, that's the way they circumvent the rules, getting around the MSRP. What I want to know, I mean, sure, you can put a used car on the market and you want to charge $84,000 for an ID4. I want to meet the person that will pay that. Like, that's what I want to meet them and kick them in the ass and say, what the hell are you thinking? I'm sorry, $84,000 for an ID4? Are you out of your mind? And I see it over and over. When it comes to compact sporty hybrids, yeah, I think there's going to be more and more of that coming. My guess is probably in the Volkswagen world, it won't be a Golf plug-in or a hybrid. It'll just be a straight EV, like the ID3 that we never got here. All right, not missing any super chats yet. Excuse me. When are you getting at the CRV? When we get our hands on it. It's very frustrating. I got to tell you. You know, in Canada, if you're not watching from in Canada, the joke is that Toronto is the center of the universe, and everything basically happens there. And if you're not in Toronto, then you're nobody. And that certainly is the case if you live way out on the West Coast like we do. You know, we don't get the cars first. We often get them later. The CRV has already been available to drive in Ontario for a month or so. You know, it would be nice if the PR department maybe flew us to Toronto to drive the car, but I don't know. We wait. It's supposed to be coming soon. Hey, Zach, will the Buick Encore GX be on your review list in the future? It might be if, it really, same thing again, it comes down to, is the car going to be available here for us to drive? As it is, we'll certainly get our hands on it. Our local Ford store has an F-150 Lightning for $110,000. That, or a Maverick and a Mustang GT. Hey, that's not a bad way to go. If you think about it, I love the Maverick. And it's funny enough, a Maverick just arrived today. It's not the hybrid. We already reviewed the hybrid. We're getting the EcoBoost now, which is, of course, the turbo four-cylinder with 250, I think, off the top of my head, 250 horsepower. So looking forward to driving that. So the Maverick is with us this week. I love the Maverick. I would get the hybrid, though. Well, maybe I might change my mind after this week, but I just love the fuel efficiency. That thing's incredible. And a Mustang GT, yeah, you could do a lot worse than that. Not sure what happened to my other comment, but I have a 19 Kia Sorento, and a nice safety feature is when I back up, the radio volume turns down. I've noticed that too. That is a good feature. Hey guys, what do you think of the shifts of the new WRX CVT? I heard is pretty legit stuff for a CVT. Okay, so Subaru, when they first came out with their the CVT in the Forester Turbo, that's their high torque CVT. I remember driving that from Nanaimo across to Tofino on the outer coast of Vancouver Island, through the mountains over the spine of Vancouver Island, and it was sort of in the evening, and I was hustling it through the corners. The turbo in the Forester was fantastic, and that CVT was really something. And basically, they've taken that high performance CVT and put it in the WRX. And for the uninitiated, you would drive it and probably think that it could be. Is it a regular automatic? No, it is a CVT. But Subaru has their own in-house CVT, and it's probably one of the best, if not the best, that you can drive. Some brands have excellent CVTs and others do not. But Subaru's is definitely one, especially with a higher horsepower car like the WRX, that you don't totally forget it's there, but it's pretty damn good for a CVT. All right, I think we have a super chat here. Here's James. Thanks, Zach and Andrea. Hey, well, that's very nice. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the support. Thanks for being here every week. James also was in the car business, and he answers some questions in the live chat as well. So there you go. Stephen is here. Good to see you, Stephen. And here's John Pettigrew, we put a picture up on the last show a couple weeks ago. He has the new red Discovery Sport. Only short drive so far, but loving the Land Rover life so far. Hope all is good out west. Well, congratulations. And hope you have a lot of success with your Land Rover. Congrats on 250,000 subs. Best automotive live show. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for that. I'll take that. Any idea when you get a hold of the Ford Escape PHEV? We drove we drove it earlier this year. The only difference with the updated PHEV will be new headlamps, like a new front and rear clip, they call it. So the bumpers and the lamps, the tail lamps and the headlamps are going to be updated, and then the infotainment screen is going to be bigger. But the basis of the vehicle is going to be the same as the one we drove. So if you want to find out what we thought of the PHEV, there is a video on the channel. It's of the 2022 model. For 2023, there is going to be a facelifted model. I'm not sure when it's coming. But yeah, I really like that product. I think that it's very good. I like the Ford Escape Hybrid. I like the PHEV. And they've got some good value there considering what others are charging in the market. Congrats on 250,000 subs. Wow, you guys are so nice. That's very nice of you to notice that. Hey, Zach, how are you doing? I'm doing great. Sarpreet, nice to see you here. Why don't more electric cars come with sunroofs? Is it something to do with electric? Actually, to be honest with you, Boston, there's an old timer on the live show. Boston Ma, good to see you here. Most electric cars that we drive do have a fixed glass panel. So you're asking about an open sunroof that you can open up. It's probably just comes down to weight. With electric cars, they're always trying to save weight. And the cartridge that the sunroof opens and closes and slides back and forth with is quite heavy. And with just having a fixed panel on the roof, you get the effect of an open, roof, but without the added weight. That's my best guess. There are a few. What one did we drive recently? Oh yeah, the Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV, the bigger brother to the video that just came out today. That does have a sunroof that you can open, so that's good. Here's David with a super chat. Enjoy your reviews. Any opinion on which manufacturers have the best massaging seats? Oh, I would say that a lot of them are really not that powerful. I have had years ago, the best massaging seat I ever experienced in a car was in a Cadillac. and this was 10 years ago or so. And it was really quite strong and powerful. A lot of the massage seats you get, they just kind of move you around a little bit. You don't get much in the way of a real sort of deep feeling massage. I don't think, to be honest with you, there's none that really stand out in that department. And also, I'm not sure how much pressure you want. I do like the massaging seats, especially on a longer road trip, just to move you around a little bit, to get some movement as you're driving and putting the hours on. But I don't know if there's a major standout in that department. And even from car to car, like you could have a car from one brand and might have massaging seats, and then you drive another car from the same brand, and it does feel maybe not as firm or effective, put it that way. Would you buy a 2020 Civic Type R or a Hyundai Elantra N, or a brand new Elantra N? These are very different vehicles. One is available with a dual clutch, and the other is just available with a manual. So you're going to get a Civic with a manual, or you can get a dual clutch in the Elantra. And I would say that the everyday comfort is going to go to the Hyundai. It's obviously a sedan with 4 doors and a trunk versus a hatchback of the Honda. But if it was just pure driving fun, I think I would go with the Honda, because that is a special car. The Type R is really quite special. I think that the Elantra or the Elantra N, they did a fantastic job on it. But for me, I'd probably take the Civic. Why don't Hyundai Kia tell us if their large screen head units are reverse compatible with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto? We'd be much more confident buying a new model if I knew it could add it later. Yeah, I mean, we've asked. Listen, we keep on bringing it up with these two brands. So if you're not aware, we talked about this in our videos. The smaller screen that does not have onboard navigation, you get wireless Apple and Android with most Kia and Hyundai cars, which means you get in, you don't have to plug your phone in. It just recognizes and it gets projected onto the screen. When you go to the larger screens on the more expensive models, you would think that feature would be included, but it's not. So because the larger screens have onboard navigation, wireless Apple and Android is not available. You have to have a cable and plug it into your phone. It can still, project onto the screen, but it's not wireless. There's a plug at that point. Now, we have asked, and you only got the one straight answer, and that was from Hyundai, from one of the product planners, and he described it like this. Hyundai, Kia, or Hyundai generally, the parent company, is in a bit of a dispute with Apple and Android or Google as to who has the proprietary first start when you hit navigation, whether it's going to be Apple, Android, or the onboard navigation. Kia wants it to be, or Hyundai want it to be their own onboard navigation, and Apple and Android want it to be theirs. I'm not sure why they can't figure this out. Other brands have been able to do it, but you're right. If you knew it was reverse compatible and you could just get the car and one day they'll figure it out and then you'll be able to get an update and it works, that would be great. I don't think that's going to happen. I think when you buy it, you're kind of one and done. We have another super chat here, Kay Downs, with a just a thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So it is kind of frustrating. Once you've had the wireless Apple and Android, you kind of do get a little bit spoiled. Having the cable there is not the end of the world, but it isn't as clean as just getting in the car and having it work automatically. So it is frustrating. Jaden, do you think turbo engines Toyota is putting in their cars are reliable? Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, it's not like turbo engines are a new thing. We've had turbo, 4-cylinder engines in mainline passenger cars now for at least 20 years. Volkswagen, Audi were the first ones really to come out of the gate. You might remember before they used to have like an Audi A4. It had a 3.2-liter V6, and then they switched it to the 2-liter turbo. So it's been quite a few years, and most manufacturers are using four-cylinder turbos in their compact SUVs, the luxury brands anyway. So I think that Toyota has been at it since the first turbo four-cylinder was in the Lexus NX, and that's been out for what, 6 years? So yeah, they know how to make engines. I wouldn't really worry about it too much. And if there was a brand that you could have a little bit more faith in than most, it would probably be Toyota. Zach, could you address the GX460 versus 4Runner with KDSS, resale and difference in ride quality? I'm not sure what KDSS is. KDSS. You'll have to write back. Why don't they put all-wheel drive in the higher horsepower Nissan Ultimate? I don't know what that is. Oh, Ultima. Sorry. I'm thinking Ultimate. Why don't they put all-wheel drive in the higher horsepower Nissan Ultima? It's probably just got to do with the packaging of the all-wheel drive system with the engine. It's probably shared with other vehicles, and they all use the same engine. So that's probably the main reason why, and probably because most people don't buy. I'm just trying to think what high horsepower Nissan Ultima are you talking about? They all have the 2.5 liter from what I remember. I'm not sure. Hey Zach, any info on the Corolla Cross arriving in BC? It's supposed to be coming just in the new year. So in the first quarter of 2023, that's when it's supposed to be coming. It was supposed to be this fall, but I've been talking to Toyota and they said no, it's going to be probably just after the new year in the first quarter anyway. Are there any signs that U.S. car market is breaking? Higher delinquencies and suppressed demand. Will Canada follow? The indications are that the used car market is starting to soften a little bit in the United States. All the reporting that I'm getting is that there's still quite a bit of demand. There's still a pent-up demand, and that's one of the problems we have is I think they're trying to tackle, well, they are trying to tackle inflation by putting interest rates up, but there's still a segment of society that is able to buy cars and they want them. So we're not seeing huge deviations yet in terms of sales, but it's one of those things. It's like it could just be going along fine and then all of a sudden it craters suddenly. We saw that certainly in home sales. Interest rates went up and home sales just cratered in terms of volume, and the prices are coming down. So all the indications are we're heading for a bit of a bumpy landing here with the economy. Or we could just have what is a technical recession, which is 2 or 3 quarters of negative growth in the economy. We might not see huge unemployment, and there could still be, my prediction is inflation is going to be much stickier than they had hoped because of all the supply constraints. That the price pressure on items is still going to be very high. So I haven't seen any major announcements from any manufacturers yet about reductions, but I think that you're right. Things like delinquencies on payments certainly is going to be something to watch, but I bet you as an overall percentage of the market of car sales, it's still probably very low. Reinhardt, hi Zach. Great job. Let's make sure you all hit the thumbs up for Zach. Oh, I can get behind that. So we have 270 people on board right now, 85 thumbs up. So if you guys could smash the thumbs up, that would be fantastic. Thank you for that. Are you coming to the Toronto Auto Show? Haven't made any plans. Usually that's in the winter. So we'll have to wait and see as we get closer. We'll see what we can figure out. Hi, Zach and fans. Is the new Chevy Bolt yet on other plans to review it anytime soon? Okay, so we did do the new Chevy Bolt last year. So we got it and we did a review of it, and Andrea and I were very positive on the Bolt. I'm a huge fan of the Bolt, and sales of the Bolt since they started up production are through the roof because it's in my opinion, the best value in the electric car game. So we did a review of the Bolt when it was redone. This was last summer, so this would be the summer of 2021. So if you go on the channel and you look for the video, you will see it there. Exactly after we published the video, within 2 or 3 days, they had a stop sale on the car and the recalls on the car and then the fires and all that kind of stuff. They've sorted all that out. They're repairing all the cars. Cars are back on sale again. So the video we did from last summer is still the current car. Just might have a, it is a 2022 model. Hi Zach, my dad has ordered a 2023 outdoor Crosstrek. I heard that Subaru's engines is bad for burning through oil with their engines. Do you know if this is true? Well, the big knock against the Subaru Boxer engine, if you're not aware, so typically with a four-cylinder car, the pistons go up and down like this. So you have four pistons going up and down like this. With a Boxer engine that's in a Subaru, you have the pistons going side to side. So the engine is flat and the pistons go this way. A horizontally opposed Boxer engine, basically what you get in an old Volkswagen Beetle or a Porsche that has 6 cylinders, the same thing. The pistons go this way instead of going up and down. So that head gasket could fail and has failed on older models. Speaking to them at Subaru, they say that they've addressed that and fixed it. I mean, this style of engine isn't new. It's been around ever since the Beetle and probably before. So if it's a 2023 model and it's under full warranty, you know what I say? Enjoy the car. You bought a good car. I like the car a lot, and enjoy it. And then when you get towards the end of the warranty, if it's something you're really worried about, you can buy an extended warranty. And that would be my advice if you're somebody that doesn't rest well at night. If you want extra coverage, then you can get that. Are you guys going to test drive the Corolla Hybrid all-wheel drive? And will there be a CHR Hybrid all-wheel drive in the future? I really like the style, but no hybrid. So there is a CHR Hybrid in other markets in the world, just not in North America. So the CHR is going to be ready for a refresh. I kind of thought when the Corolla Cross came out that maybe the CHR might not have any longevity, but listen, there's so many ways to cut the pie when it comes to utility vehicles, and you know, just having a front-wheel drive, fairly inexpensive city runabout is not a bad idea for Toyota. So we don't know when we're getting a chance to drive the Corolla Cross Hybrid. Like I said, I've been in touch with Toyota Canada. They say it's probably going to be just in the new year. Any word if Volvo will bring the mild hybrid for the XC40? Unfortunately, the all EV recharge is pricey, but mild hybrid might strike better price point with fuel economy to boot. So most of the Volvo vehicles do have a mild 48-volt hybrid system on board anyway. But what you're talking about is a hybrid system kind of like you would get with a Toyota. I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to have their full EV, which is a fine product, or the gas, which is a mild hybrid anyway. But it's a 48-volt mild hybrid. It's just, I'm not sure if the XC40 has it, but they do have it in other Volvo vehicles. And when they made an announcement several years ago saying all of their vehicles were going to be electrified, so what that meant was hybrid, and it meant 48-volt hybrid, not the kind of hybrid you're expecting like from a Prius or something like that. Is the Palisade Calligraphy a good car? Hell yeah, it's a good car. Here's Danny saying, to be fair, Throttle House has 2 million subs. They do more than just reviews. Well, that's nice. Good for them. We know those guys. Hey, Zach, your thoughts on all the Toyota and Lexus thefts? Any preventions being developed in the industry? I'm not aware of major thefts with Toyotas and Lexus. I know about catalytic converters getting stolen. Which cars are getting stolen? Here's Ray Lang. What watch are you wearing today? I am wearing my Omega. This is called the Great White. It's from around 2000. It's an Omega 300M GMT with a white dial. And they were only sold for a few years. And they're not hard to get. And they're not expensive. They're expensive. But they're not crazy expensive. But I like this watch. This is good. How do you like your moon swatch? I have it right here. There's the moon swatch. So if you're not aware, the moon swatch is Swatch, the plastic quartz watch company, collaborated with another brand under the Swatch group. So you might not be aware that Omega is part of the Swatch group. It's a family of watches. So they collab to make a moon swatch, and this one's called the Earth Edition because it's green and blue, and I put it on a blue strap. It's fine, you know, it's cheap and cheerful. It's plastic. I mean, it looks like it's exactly proportionally the same as the real moon watch. I have one of those. But it's just fun. You know what? I have this for, you know, going somewhere. I don't have to worry about it. If it gets stolen or I break it or whatever, it wasn't expensive. Just a few $100. Are you close to Washington State? Yes. We're just across the border. Will you do a 2023 GV70 review, or in the case that it's too similar? No, we won't do another one in 2023. The car is the same. So all that we've done 2 videos of the GV70. We did one on the 3.5 turbo and one of the 2.5 turbo. Spoiler alert, the 2.5 is the one to buy. So those videos are on the channel. There's really no reason to get them again because there's not really any substantial change. Or unless we need a car and we need to get an extra video, we might get one back. But really, the videos that are out certainly stand to date. Why are car companies doing right things with door handles and glove box latches and things like the new Cadillac? I'm not sure what that means. I think what you mean is like, well, I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Will electrification of cars create more level playing fields so automakers must concentrate on styling and interior design? It's funny you mentioned this, David. Andrew and I were talking about this because we just had the GV60. The GV60 went out on Saturday, the video of it, and it's a full electric car. And we were talking about the differences between, say, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the GV60, or the Kia EV6 and the GV60. And really, if you think about it, they're sharing the same components of the electric motors and batteries. So what it comes down to at that point is design, interior finish, maybe a bigger electric motor. In the case of the one we had, it did have a bigger electric motor and was faster. So you're right. A big part of it, and what some companies miss on this, is they miss on the sound insulation in the car. Tesla's one where their cars are not very quiet. Other brands that really focus on sound insulation, like Mercedes-Benz, when you drive their EQ vehicles, you're so insulated from the outside. It's so quiet. They're very good at doing that with their internal combustion engine cars. They continue that with their electric vehicles, which makes them very, very quiet. So it's things like that. It's going to be design. It's going to be how quiet the vehicle is. The suspension they can calibrate differently from one brand to another, and interior materials and the way it's put together. And I think that's what you're going to see, is especially when you're getting into a car company sharing all of the components across an entire several families of vehicles. So you have General Motors where they're going to be using basically the same guts for all of their EVs. It just comes down to, at that point, how it's packaged. And I think that's what you're looking at, and I agree with you. I like the GMC Yukon. Will it come with a V6 turbo? From last I drove it, there's a 6-cylinder turbo diesel, which is not an inexpensive option. But man, that's the one to get if you want amazing fuel economy, because the regular gas, they're hard on fuel. But yes, the V6 turbo, no, it's V8s and inline 6-cylinder. People are talking back and forth. Hey, Zach, I subscribed. I'm not looking to buy a car, but hey, that's because I'm in the UK. Keep up the great work, and congrats on 250 to you both. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Listen, we love it that there's regulars that watch all of our videos. We get that. That's fantastic. You guys are the fans of the channel, and we salute you for being here. What I'm saying is, what the millions of views that we get over the months, a lot of people are just trying to find information on a specific car. So we appreciate people who watch all of our videos, but once that has happened, most of the views that happen after that are the people that are just looking for information on that particular car. Diesel at $2.35 a liter. Do I keep my 328D M Sport Touring? I know Zach will say yes. Oh, well, why did you ask then? Of course I'm going to say yes. Listen, if you have a diesel car, and we have a diesel car, so you know the price of diesel is, so you're obviously in Canada because it's liters, is the same price or slightly less than regular gasoline. If you had a 3 Series, it would need premium gasoline. So that's more expensive. So you're already saving money there. And then diesel gets 25 to 30% more efficiency or better range out of 1 liter of fuel. So you're saving money. Even though it's an expensive fuel right now, it's cheaper than premium gas and it goes farther. So I say keep it. By the way, you've got a 328 Touring BMW M Sport. There will be a lineup of station wagon nerds, first of all, and then diesel nerds who will want that car. The longer you own it, the more valuable it's going to be. Couple of things. No station wagons any longer, and no diesels. We haven't had diesels for several years for the German manufacturers. The only diesels now are domestic trucks, really. So a diesel wagon, if it was a manual, that would be like a unicorn. That would be the rare spotted owl. All right. Hey, Zach, why Honda cars decide to put the CRG hybrid in the top trim in Canada? I don't understand. I don't understand it either. I don't understand what Honda is doing in the Canadian market. The pricing of their newest entries is crazy. So the HRV, basically their all-wheel drive HRV, starts at right $31,000. Their direct competitor, which is the Corolla Cross, fully loaded, is $31,000. So you're talking base model all-wheel drive or the Toyota Corolla Cross fully loaded all-wheel drive for the same price. So that's one example. Then the HRV, you go up to the top trim, is $37,000. For $2,000 more, you can get an Audi Q3. And doesn't even have power seats. Doesn't have an armrest in the back seat. Then you get into the CRV. So the CRV all-wheel drive starts at $37,000, and with the hybrid, only sold on the top trim is over 50 grand. I don't get it. Honda used to represent value, and Honda used to represent a mainline car brand for people who wanted to buy an affordable car with good engineering and great dependability and long-term reliability. But now they've taken away one of the main pillars of their brand, which is affordability. I mean, the pricing is crazy. So I don't know what's going to happen. My prediction is it's going to be basically Gen Xers and baby boomers who have the money are just going to buy it because they've always bought a Honda, or they've always had, somebody in the family who's had a Honda. The younger people that are starting out a family, maybe they got their first house, maybe a first kid on the way, they're looking at the Korean cousins because they offer way more value, and they're not as tied to the Honda mystique and brand as people who are my age and older, Gen X and baby boomers, because they just don't care. And they're looking for value. And that's one of the main pillars of the brand, which they're basically blowing out. I don't get it. Because in the States, there is a Honda Premium for their newest entries, but nothing like what they're charging in the Canadian market. So I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I don't see it being sustainable. Are they just trying to... I don't know what they're doing. I just don't get it. Hey, Zach, will you be reviewing luxury full-size trucks like the Ram 1500 or Elite or the GMC Ultimate anytime soon? Trucks really aren't our focus on the channel. We might get one. I'm not going to promise anything, but we have so many other vehicles to drive, and pickup trucks really aren't what our audience is looking for. But yeah, I get your point. I do like getting them once in a while. Of course, we have the Maverick this week, but that's not really the same kind of thing as a Ram or a F-150 or a Sierra or something like that. But point taken. I'll look in to see what's out there. Here's Josh from Montreal. Congrats on the subs. Tesla update for you. So Josh has a Model Y. I put 30,000 kilometers in 11 months. Way over my lease, 20,000 K a year. But even with overage cost savings are worth it. Best car ever. No rebate. There you go. So that's Josh and his Model Y. Looking for smaller SUV with third rows. So Tiguan, Outlander seem to be like contenders. Test drove both today. Preferred the feel of the Outlander, but should we wait for the PHEV? Well, listen, the pricing of the PHEV was just announced this week. Our video had already gone out, but they sent the pricing. It starts at roughly $46,000 in the Canadian market and goes all the way up to $57,000. So that's for the PHEV. So the regular gas model is going to be less expensive. But then you have to add in things like rebates. So at that $46,000 mark, you're going to get in the Canadian market $5,000 knocked off by the feds, and maybe even more money if you live in a province that has a rebate as well. So that brings the price down and makes it more attractive. The PHEV will be a better vehicle to drive because it's just got more available power from the electric motors and the gasoline engine. So you've got that instant torque, you've got that effortless acceleration. So if you could afford it, I would say probably the PHEV. It's exactly the same as the gas model. It's got the third row if you need it, and it's got the electrification, and you're kind of future-proofing yourself when it comes to fuel economy. So if you can afford it, the one I think is the best value is the SEL trim. It's around $54,000. Once again, if you get a rebate on it, it's going to bring it down a little bit. But hey, listen, if you can't afford the PHEV, absolutely nothing wrong with either of the other two if you're looking for that third row in a pinch, okay? Here's Eric, also from Montreal. My dad's Santa Fe lease ended, and on his contract, the buyback fee was $0. But the dealership still slapped they're such dicks, a $700 administration fee. Hyundai Canada lease contract independent than what the dealers can charge. Hyundai Canada let me see that again. Hyundai Canada lease contract independent than what the dealers can charge. I'm not sure. Oh, here's another part. A complaint saying it was sleazy way of operating a business and they removed it. Oh, good. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's just douchebag dealers being douchebag dealers. This exact. So I'm glad you called them out on it. And you know what? The great thing about a lease is you sign the piece of paper, right? On that piece of paper is a contract. It states everything that you're entitled to and everything that the lease company is entitled to. So the great thing is you just have the contract and you say there's nothing in here that says I have to pay any documentation fee. I have the ability to buy this car for $25,000. I like to exercise my option on that. And good for you. It's just, these car dealers are being such sleazebags. The reason why car dealers have the worst reputation of all businesses is because they deserve it. And you have to, like Eric and his dad, I'm glad you stood up because that's what you have to do. Because if you're an unsuspecting person, maybe you're an immigrant and your English or French isn't that good, they'll try and pull it over on you because they can. And I just can't believe what they try to get away with, and often do. So good for you. Thoughts on a 2023 Hyundai Tucson. My wife just put a deposit to get a preferred all-wheel drive with Trend package, and we're excited to do about 5-6 months wait. Hybrid is closer to 1 to 2 years. Yeah, listen, it's a great product. We are big fans of both of the Hyundai and Kia versions of this. So that's the Tucson and the Sportage. Listen, you could get the Tucson, and then you could also put your name down for a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid, and when it comes, you could roll from one end to the other. The way the car industry is right now, you probably wouldn't lose much. So it wouldn't be a bad idea. You've already got a relationship with the dealer to say to them, listen, hey, put us down for a hybrid. And then when the car comes in, if you don't want it, they'll sell it to somebody else. There's no hardship to the dealer. But you could maybe negotiate and say, listen, we'll roll out of this one. We'll get into that one. You have a nice used car to sell. We'll pay $2,000 or whatever difference, whatever the amount is, and then you get a new car. So it's worth thinking about. Or the other thing you could do is you could lease the car, and then order the car with the expectation that you're going to get it at the end of the lease. That's something you could do as well. Oh, here's Eric writing below. Too many people are getting taken advantage of. No wonder dealers have a bad reputation. Hello, exactly. That's why car dealers have a bad reputation. They've earned it. Hey, Zach, love y'all's show. I know y'all did a video on the Santa Cruz. Do you like it? And do you think it compares to the Tucson RAV4 Maverick and Ridgeline? Thanks, Zach. Well, it's not going to compare to the RAV4 or the Tucson. It will compare to the Tucson because it's built on the same platform. So it is a fantastic product. It's got the turbo engine. It's got loads of power. It's got the dual clutch transmission. It's actually more sporty than trucky, if you know what I mean. It feels very sporty to drive, and it's quite nimble. It's based on that crossover platform. It's got a powerful engine, and it's all that. So that's good. The problem is, in the US, they have much cheaper versions of the Santa Cruz. In Canada, they only have the kind of most expensive ones that you can buy. I think the best thing that's ever happened to the Honda Ridgeline is the Maverick coming out and the Santa Cruz coming out, because people are looking at unibody, crossover-based pickup trucks, and now they're realizing there's an alternative in here, and it's called the Ridgeline, which is bigger, has more capacity, has a V6 engine, has a regular automatic transmission, and is a much bigger bed, and is much more comfortable. So what I would suggest is, if you're thinking about a Santa Cruz, wander over and have a look at the Ridgeline. I think for bang for buck, it's probably way more truck. Zoner here. The tide is turning on dealers. Just be patient. Well, I don't know. We hear story after story. People are getting. I just can't believe the way dealers behave. And if you have any friends or people that you know who have received good service from a dealer, go to that dealer. And if you can get an introduction, say somebody in your family bought a Ford, a Toyota, a Honda, and they liked the service they got and they were treated well, find out who that salesperson was and who the dealer is, and give them your business. Don't, there's so many dealerships of these mainline car brands. If one dealer is being a total douche, leave. Tell them, you're not getting my money. This is like crooked behavior. I'm out of here, and go and find someone else. Hey, Zach, is there a possibility I can get a Hyundai Tucson hybrid at MSRP? Here in Houston, dealerships are asking $5,000 over MSRP. After negotiating, they get ready to give the car on MSRP plus 22. Okay, so they dropped it down to $2,200. It's different north and south of the border. So in the United States, car dealers will do price adjustments, and they basically charge whatever the hell they think they can get. In Canada, it's slightly different. Our dealer networks are not supposed to sell over MSRP. They have some little tricks that they do and douchey things that they do to get more money out of you. Listen. What I would do is what I just suggested a moment ago. There's more than one dealer out there. You've got an offer on the table at $2,200 over MSRP, which is ridiculous that I'm even saying this, but it doesn't sound too crazy compared to what we're hearing from some people who are being charged $10,000 and $15,000 over MSRP for some cars. So you have that in your back pocket. You could go see if you can get another dealer to give you the car at cost or their MSRP and no upcharge. But now you know you've got one on the hook for $2,200. See if you can get a better deal. That's what I would do. But it's a great product. You are going to like it. So, yeah, it's a really good product. 366 people on board and 171 thumbs up. So thank you, everybody, for doing that. That's very nice of you. I think we have another super chat here. Did I miss one? Is it Jean or Jean? I don't know, but I say it both ways, so I get it right. Just miss the good old days of car buying. Yeah, the good old days where you could go into a dealer and they would actually have a car on the lot that you could buy and often get it the same day. Oh, here's another super chat. Limited reach. Honda got rid of the base Civic for 2023. More money. Yeah, we heard that as well. They got rid of the base model in Canada for this latest generation. So this is in the United States. They've done the same thing. I don't get what they're up to at Honda. I just don't understand. And then you see Hyundai and Kia are offering some, the best deal in the compact car space right now, the best deal is the Nissan Sentra. It's actually a nice driving car, independent rear suspension. They did the latest version. They did a really good job on it, and the price is very good. So if you don't want to pay the Honda premium, that's not a bad way to go either. Okay, now I'm going to find out where I was. Do you still have to warm up electric vehicles during the winter? No, you do not. There's no, it's just a battery and electric motors. But what the nice thing about having a connected car is that you can precondition the car. So if the car is plugged in your driveway and you've got the thing plugged in there overnight, you get on your app, or you can even schedule it and say you're leaving at 9 in the morning. You at 8:30, you can say warm up the interior. It puts the defroster on, seat warmers are on, puts the heat on, all that kind of stuff. So when you get in it, ooh, it's nice and warm. And the other thing is you're preconditioning the car for when you drive away. So you're not using energy from the battery, you're using energy from the house. Okay? So then you still have a full battery when you unplug it and drive away. So that's the nice thing about preconditioning the car. But I don't think there's any advantage to sitting there. There's nothing to warm up with an electric car. Ordered a Toyota Sienna. Dealer says it'll be 2 years before it arrives and aren't letting you order the top trim. I still ordered one hoping the wait time becomes less from Ontario. Well, that's crazy. You're talking about a Sienna minivan. It's not exactly, I don't know. It's just the whole car business is crazy right now. I don't know what to tell you other than, if you put your name down and it comes in earlier, what you might do. The thing that we don't know is the desired effect of jacking up interest rates from the central banks going to have a major downturn in the economy. If that's the case, then all of these wait times are going to be much, much shorter because there's going to be loads of people that say, when they call and they go, oh, by the way, we've got your Sienna minivan. You're like, we can't afford a new car right now, worried about my job or whatever. They'll go, thanks very much. You can sell it to somebody else and hang up. So I think that's going to happen. Not saying that's the case for you at all, but there will be people that when they get the call or the email and say, by the way, your car's on the way, there are going to be people that say, yeah, I changed my mind. I don't think I need a new car right now. Because that's what can happen and we have a major downturn in the economy. And then I think a lot of the supply constraint issues are going to help to be resolved, but I don't think it's going to go away. I just personally don't think that we're going to have that in the economy. I think we're going to have a slowdown, but I don't think it's going to be, we're going to come to a crashing thud. At least I hope not. Isn't there a big recall on the Hyundai dual clutch? I'm not sure. I haven't heard that. I know you love hybrids. I'm anxious for info on the 2023 Prius. I cannot confirm nor deny I know anything about that. I cannot confirm nor deny I know anything about the Prius. Just saying. Hey, Zach, what do you think about leasing an EV versus financing in terms of current battery technology likely being outdated in the next few years? Well, that's, one of the things that you have to contend with wherever you jump in, right? And that's the problem is people are saying, okay, am I going to get this car or am I going to wait for the next new great thing that's coming down the road? The analogy I always use is, your cell phone, are you going to go up and buy the current model or are you going to wait 6 more months to get the newer, latest version? That's like, so when do you jump in? I think that leasing is not a bad way to go to help mitigate any risk because once again, you've got a signed piece of paper with a predetermined value of the car, okay, at the end of the lease. So that's some assurance that you know exactly what the terms of either buying the car or giving the car back are at the end of the lease. So leasing does give you some kind of protection. But people who lease cars over the last few years, when the leases have come up, they would have been smart to buy them because used car prices have gone up so much higher than the piece of paper, right? So it's not a bad way to go. I'm a big fan of leasing as a hedge against, uncertain things in the future. You can always assign the lease to somebody else and get out of it if you need to get out of the car. But that's one of the worries that you have when it comes. And here's the thing about electric cars: almost all of the electric cars, even the Leaf, is really the I guess the Leaf is the second generation. But almost all of the electric cars and almost all of the plugins that we have today are generation 1. Okay, we're just starting to see the second generation of the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. It's just going to be arriving here any day now. So we're, for most car companies, at the first generation of electrification. So just think about how much is going to change for the next generation of electrification. So you have to think to yourself, is the one that I'm buying today, is that going to hold up in the years to come when there's something new and shinier coming down the line? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But leasing isn't a bad way to go to hedge against that, because you can always just buy the car, if you like, at the end of the lease anyway. Glenn and Ava. Hey, Zach, beautiful area. You and Andrea demo the autos in. You drive expensive cars many times. How expensive an area is the location you drive? Millions have driven the Bentayga. Okay. So we shoot most of our videos in a part of Vancouver called the University Endowment Lands, or UBC, the University of British Columbia. So that's one of the major universities in Canada, and it's on a peninsula, and it's highly manicured and very high-end part of the city. So I would say the houses that you're seeing there, when we drive by them, they're probably start around 5 million, and some of them would be 10 to 20 million dollars. So it's very expensive. Vancouver is one of the most expensive cities in the world, and certain areas of Vancouver are like crazy expensive. So yeah, it's a very desirable neighborhood, and we do not live there. We just go and shoot there. A couple more questions here. Would you go with the Corolla Cross or the Hyundai Kona? It depends what your goals are. Like if you're somebody that wants to have a little bit more fun, probably the Kona. If you just want good basic transportation, the Corolla. If you're buying it and keeping it for a long period of time, I would go for the Corolla. Same for resale value. If you're not in a rush, I would probably get the hybrid Corolla, which will make it even better than it already is. That'd be the one that I would want. Will Honda update the Passport soon now that the Pilot is announced? They're the same vehicle practically. Yeah, so when one comes, the other will come, right? Hey, Zach, to you and Andrea, thumbs up. Is the Kia dual climate auto an overhyped issue? I set up my temperature for 72 degrees and I am good. Are that many folks switching back and forth? I think what you're talking about is, so the dual climate control is really passenger and driver. But the interesting thing is, if you ever, we're in so many different cars, they're both set pretty much at the same thing anyway. So I think the dual zone climate control thing is a bit, like, how much difference is there from the passenger to the driver? Maybe a degree or two, but yeah, I think that it's one of those things that people get caught up in, but it probably doesn't make much difference. Are you going to review the Toyota Highlander? Of course we are. We just have to wait for when we're going to get a chance to drive it. When that is, we'll have to wait and see. Okay, John is asking, hello, Zach and Andrea, your thoughts on the auto industry doom and gloom for 2023 and beyond due to high interest rates, rising car prices, and buyers' current debt loads. So, as I mentioned a moment ago, I think that there's going to be definitely a segment of the market that's going to be absolutely crushed with the higher interest rates and the slowing of the economy and having to deal with inflation and all those sorts of things. But there's always a certain part of the economy that people, they just don't care. They have money and they want to buy something new. We're talking to one dealer and they said, this, I can't remember, I won't say what the brand is, but they said they would lease a car and maybe it was a luxury brand and the lease was say $800 a month. Now that same car with the interest rates is like $1,200 or $1,300. So yeah, it is going to have a slowing effect, but that's the desired goal of these higher interest rates. They want people to slow down. They want people to not be buying new cars and delaying purchases of things, which will cool the economy down. It's one of those ones. Be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. Because almost every single time they've done this historically, the recession comes and things are not pretty. I remember living through the recession of the early '90s, which was horrible. It lasted for years, the downturn, and maybe not technically a recession for years, but the downturn in the economy was really bad for many years. So it could get ugly in the car business. Right now we're not seeing any major deterioration. Things are slowing down a little bit, but it's not gone off a cliff in any way. Here's John, just answered his question. All these EVs and FUVs are so boring. Your thoughts on the 992 GT3? Have you driven one? No, I haven't driven the new GT3. I drove the 991 GT3 Touring, which is my dream car. The GT3 Touring is my dream car, and I see in your thumbnail there you've got a 911 there. Well, I'll get my hands on one day, but it's the 992 is wonderful. I like the 991 interior better. The 992 with that plastic shiny thing, and I don't like that. But yeah, the GT3 all day long. 9,000 RPM. Mwah, perfect. Okay, we're all done. We've done an hour. Thanks to everybody that tuned in, and we will be back next Sunday. If you want to get a picture in it, Zach at motormouth.ca, ZACK at motormouth.ca. For Americans, that's ZACK at motormouth.ca. So send your pictures in. We'll do it again a week from now. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you next time.